welcome back to the channel, to a video that's a bit different than the usual ones. In my last video I actually said I was going to be ending this channel. However, what's going to happen is I'll probably still do my adventures and stuff like that, but I'm going to start adding a different element in. It's going to be a bit different. It's going to be kind of like about mountain biking, the things that mountain biking can bring us, and like for challenges, to the fresh air, the great outdoors, through mindfulness, stuff like that. What I want to discuss in this is, you probably know from one of my videos if you've watched it, that 2 years ago I suffered from extreme depression, like quite bad depression, and I almost took my life, almost jumped to my death. I didn't, thankfully. That's when I got back into mountain biking. I did it when I was a young child. I got back into mountain biking in the hope that I could get back something past it, something to give my life meaning, something to look forward to. It's massively helped. It's completely massively helped. It's changed my life. I'm in the best frame as I can. That along with studying psychology. I've actually done that for 10 years. Hit a blip where I wasn't studying anymore. Mind went, I don't know, late in the 30s. I'm now 39, so it was late in the 30s, 37 it would have been, when I started to recover. So mid 30s into there. You start to look at people's social medias, you start to say, oh, look at all them images and that. How are they having such a brilliant life, and here's me stuck in what you call a dead-end job? And you start to get yourself worked up. Well, what you don't see obviously through them social media thing is lots of people don't post the bad times, so you just see the good things and you think their life is, you know, just awesome. But that's, in reality, it's never really the case. I'm sure there is a few who's just, oh, awesome. What I've also found though is going through hardship and that, it's actually taught me a lot, and I'm becoming, as I age, more and more resilient. Thick-skinned, I think they also call it. And that's what leads me to this video. My goal is now, through, at least at the moment, that of mountain biking, the power of mountain biking, build a community to get outside. If you're currently feeling down in that, mountain biking might sound expensive, but there's definitely ways going to the second-hand market or whatever. Even ask for a borrow of your friend's bike, maybe they have two, and get out there with it. It doesn't matter your skill set. You can ride easy trails, you can find fun in that, you can progress. I do think that's a big deal though. You want to progress. You want to use mountain biking not only as a relaxation, but as some challenge, because when you're challenged in your life, you don't really have the time to sit around and mope how boring your life is, because it's not going to be boring no matter how big the challenge is. We're all going to face challenges in our life regardless, so we might as well get out there looking for challenges so we can improve when the inevitable one turns up. And that's what I found. I'd be also studying like Stoic, so it's just the way that, although in extreme circumstances, they just kept going, they didn't give up. That's not the same as working towards something it's just not working and just keep it going, doing the exact same thing. Change it up, but keep the end goal in mind. That's really what it is. And it also brings me to another part of this video. Not only do I want to build communities, I want to show the brand names. So there's no secret in mountain biking right now, and the cycling, like as brands and that, they're under a lot of pressure. There's financial pressures involved right now. Lots of them is going bust. Actually, my hardtail, Vitas, they went bust through Wiggle and chain reaction going down. Frasers have bought them over, not doing a lot with it. Hopefully they do eventually. And then my other brand, here, GT, I've got that without knowing it at the time, because they will, it's like they're kind of winding down. Now they said they're only getting put on a pause, so they might come back, and I hope they do. But at the moment, GT, other than buying the past models like that 2022 model, they're no longer making bikes at this point. If they come back in the future, I hope they do, because obviously they're one of the big brands. But not to get so messed up in that, I think it can help brands to re-establish mountain biking and even cycling through the town Strava and that can add challenges and stuff like that, and just bettering yourself. And obviously the mindfulness just getting out in nature. There's no secret that the great outdoors is something that really helps, especially through depression. I think it's through serotonin that the sun gives you, the vitamin D and all that. It can really help keep depression down. Depression runs in my family, so I don't think it's any secret to also know that it can be through genetics as well, that you're more likely to get it, but that's not to say you will, because you can easily, well, not easily, it's through effort and persistence you can help stave it off. But if brands, I think, now this is my take, that we can help brands start to sell the bikes again by showing people the benefits. Now there'll be millions of people through the world who are suffering from depression. Some know it, some don't. Now you can go to the doctor, in fact in extreme cases I recommend you do. I didn't, but that's not to say you shouldn't. They'll give you tablets, but I don't think they really look at the root cause. And then more often than not, it's the chemical imbalance in your brain. So the chemical imbalance through fitness, and it's certainly being outside. I don't think it's enough to go to the gym on its own if it's indoors. You might have gyms which you could do it outside, and certainly during the summer I recommend you do. But that's where cycling has a really good benefit through mindfulness, concentrating on yourself, smelling nature, and just being out in nature. I mean, look where I am today on these mountain bike trails. Yesterday was completely different. Biked to the next town to see my mum and dad on the back roads through a beach, a nice looking beach up the top, looking out in the ocean. It's just good that way. And if we can help the mountain bike brands start to sell their bikes. Now that I believe that is those that's probably a bit too lazy to get on a bike and get out, and they're perhaps the most susceptible to depression, until they realise that it would help if they weren't being lazy, stuck on the chair, get jumping in their cars. Now don't get me wrong, I have nothing against cars, nothing against drivers. Sometimes it's just too far to bike, or it would take too long. Like getting to your work could be miles ahead. But if you can, I recommend getting on a bike over a car any day. And with the infrastructure slowly getting built and new rules, hopefully cycling will get safer. If brands can focus on that aspect and the health aspects and really promoting it and showing people, even getting it through the governments, maybe even the doctors, to promote cycling to help, and the doctors and governments can drum into people that laziness does not help when it comes to depression. And I have no other term for it, for the people that just won't get on a bike. There's people come out and say bikes are for kids. I don't think the kids would win Tour de France. I also don't think there's really talented kids. But when you look at the downhill, they're usually in their 20s and that. They're not kids anymore. They've got their trade. That's like saying football's for kids. It's a sport. Now, look, there's probably more kids than adults that play it, yes. But it's not for kids. It's a sport. Sport isn't just for kids. You don't get older. You don't get a job. Just get a job and say, that's me. I sit down in an office and don't do anything. Now that, to me, that's more immature than being a kid. Get out there, enjoy it. Brands start focusing. Obviously I'm just little old me, but I really think they could start pushing the brands if they start laying on thick to the health benefits, concentrating on the health benefits. I know governments and local councils here in the UK are already kind of like trying to drum it into people, but you get that social media aspect that hates cyclists and stuff like that. I think it's important to remember the people that don't hate cyclists probably are already fit. They're too busy to be on social media commenting, like saying hate cyclists or whatever. They're too busy, they've got too much on in their lives. They're the ones that are probably in the majority. Those sitting down on social media. And while I'm on social media, I like to say there's something else I've challenged myself, just to go on social media 3 times per day, unless my goal of building a community means I have to go on more for that day. But on unusual days, 3 times per day. social media, visiting it will give you that spike of dopamine, but like a drug, like cocaine, the dopamine will drop during the day below the baseline, just trying to increase it by doing things like that. Fitness is the opposite. It drops your dopamine initially for it to spike during the day. So I know what I'd prefer. Anyway, drop your comments down below what you actually think about this. What do you think brands need to do? Do you think that cycling helps? Would you love to get involved in building a community of cyclists or people just showing the benefits, mental benefits, the depression, just feeling down in general that cycling can have? Also showing you how to make challenges again. Maybe you're a business owner and you need to move to that next level, but you don't know how to challenge yourself anymore, and you need to face those challenges. It's going to be a challenge to move to the next level. You could use things like mountain biking or even cycling through Strava, bettering your times and that, just to show you. But remember to challenge yourself. Don't just say, like through Strava, I'm going to beat myself by 1 second. Try and beat yourself by minutes the next time. And mountain biking, don't just say, I'm just going to ride a green trail just casually around. Try and better yourself. Yeah, there's risk that you might get injured, but there's risk in everything in life. You might get injured walking down the street. Just get out there. Anyway, enough of me rambling. If you found this useful, then please drop a comment. Please hit like and subscribe to the video. Hit all notifications so that you get more. And if any brands watching, you might be, probably not, but if you are, please drop me a comment below on that. I would like to get involved with some brands. I'd like to kickstart the mountain biking or even the cycling side. Kickstart your brands and that. I could help you. You could help me. Who knows? Who knows what the future's going to bring? I've got lots of big dreams and high goals for this. So yeah, until the next one, who knows what it'll be? Might be one of these again. It might be another adventure one. But until the next time, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.